I'm absolutely excited because I am launching a brand new series called the Boardroom Series. So here we go. Welcome to the Boardroom Series. Conversations beyond the title, beyond the promotion, and definitely not for the sensitive. This is about the unspoken rules of executive presence, executive communication, influence, power, and perception. It's really the things nobody teaches you, but everybody judges you on. These conversations that I'm going to have are the conversations they should have taught some people and had with people before they gave them the title. I'm just saying. But it's all good because that's exactly why I'm here to help you show up like a kick-ass leader, no matter your title. Whenever you sit around a boardroom table or any table for that matter, we're going to talk about something that quietly destroys your authority and your power in meetings every single day. And that is the way you communicate, what you say. Because if we're honest, we can all agree that some of the smartest people in the room, they just sound so weak. And sometimes you see someone in a brand new position and you're excited to see them. And when you hear them speak, you're like, holy crap, they can't be my leader. They can't be the person like heading up the department. And here's the thing, most of the time it has nothing to do with their level of intelligence or their capacity to do their work or their capability to perform in that role. It usually primarily has to do with how they speak, how they communicate overall, and how they respond. The way they usually communicate is something like this. They either sound uncertain, they sound nervous. Sometimes it gives off that approval seeking energy. You know that? Like they're always like they're looking for a friend and you feel it just by what they're saying. And for some people, they are just uncomfortable in their own skin. And the sad part is this, a lot of people don't even realize that they're doing it. You see, you can have the right idea in your head and still lose the room's attention because of how you communicated it. So today I'm breaking down a few things. Number one, what to stop saying immediately. Number two, the phrases that weaken your authority. Number three, why overexplaining kills your presence or executive presence, even if you're not an executive. And number four, how powerful communicators actually sound in high level rooms. Because the way you communicate completely impacts how you're positioned in your organization and how people perceive you and how much they respect you. It is what it is. Communications is actually everything. So I want to start here. I'm going to say something that may sting a little bit. If you are one of those people who overtalks and rambles, I'm talking to you. And I'm only here to share what I teach to my clients so you too can show up like a badass at any table you sit at. When you ramble and overtalk, it's actually not a communication issue. It's your nervous system that needs better managing. So one, that means you're normal and it tells you that your nervous system is firing properly. But people don't usually get trained on what to do to stop it. And that's what I do with my clients, whether they're an entrepreneur, C-suite executive, someone getting ready for the red carpet, or a media interview, right? Here's the thing. People over-explain because silence makes them uncomfortable. We've all been socialized and trained to have two-way conversation. So when I say something, you say something back. When we're back and forth, we're not used to having that silence. So when there is a moment of silence, we fill it up with words. People just keep talking because they're trying to manage how they're being perceived in real time in that moment. And as soon as someone starts managing the perception emotionally in that moment, their executive presence, their power presence drops down. I want you to watch people carefully in meetings moving forwards. Someone's giving a presentation, for example, and they're flowing nicely, right? They're nice and smooth. They seem comfortable in their own skin, confident in their own skin. Then all of a sudden, someone challenges their idea. And then suddenly, one, they start rambling, they start over clarifying, they start defending, they start backtracking. They're explaining things or over explaining things nobody even questioned. Sound familiar? It might be you. Doesn't matter. We're going to work on it. You see, when that happens, that's a clear showcase that you cannot handle being under pressure. And I call it with my clients pressure leakage. So here's what I want you to know. Every unnecessary word after you land your point is usually anxiety and nervousness speaking, not authority, not confidence, not self-assuredness, anxiety. Here's what I teach, and I want you to also understand. The point loses strength when you keep talking after you've landed your point. Strong communicators land a point, then they stop talking altogether. Just stop. Weak communicators explain the point to death. They like literally whip it like a horse, or I don't know what's the saying, a dead horse, or listen, I don't want to offend, but they go over it and over it and over and over it. And this happens all the time in boardrooms, at meetings. And doesn't matter the type of meeting, you know what I'm talking about, that over-explainer. And often when I see my clients or work with them and I do that assessment, I see it a lot in high performers, because high performers are deeply uncomfortable being misunderstood. So they try to explain every single angle and every single detail and every single possibility and every single nuance. I remember one of my clients, when they came to me, he was a junior attorney and he was in a really powerful law firm, and they called him green, brand new. That was their term. And when we started to work together, I fully understood why they called him green. He was an epic overtalker, over-explainer. When he was nervous, he was the youngest in the room. He knew it. And he was around the boardroom table and he felt like more information was better for him. He thought the more information he gave, the better he would be heard. And he was absolutely wrong, absolutely incorrect. So we worked on a few strategies, including this one, landing your point and stop talking. And that shifted how he was being received around boardroom tables. So he no longer rambles, and his peers are now listening with their ears wide open when he declares what he says and stops talking and stops over justifying it. That's when his executive presence stands loud and powerful. Executive presence, a powerful presence, is not about saying everything. It's about saying what matters clearly and stop talking. Got it? Now let's get practical. There are certain words and phrases that instantly weaken your positioning and your power in meetings. And before anyone comes for me or gets emotional, yes, context matters. However, if these phrases are constantly showing up whenever you communicate, people unconsciously perceive you differently. They do. So let's start here. The first word is sorry. Stop apologizing before you speak, especially when you did nothing wrong. Have you ever heard this, or have you ever said this? Sorry, I just wanted to say something. I'm so sorry to interrupt. I'm so sorry. This may not make sense, bud. No, stop it. You are training people to receive your words with less weight before you even finish the sentence. Ladies, I'm primarily speaking to you because more females apologize before they speak than males do. And it's a fact that I'm not even getting into. Instead, let's shift it. Here are a few phrases that you should or could be using. I'd like to add something here. Let me jump in. Here is my perspective. All of these phrases are clearer, stronger, and more concise. It's just super clean. Got it? Perfect. The next weak phrase is this. I just think. That word just quietly weakens your authority. The word just minimizes your presence. I just wanted to ask something. I just think that maybe, why are you shrinking your own statement while saying it? No more of that. Start using language and phrases like, my recommendation is, my perspective is, or something like, what I'm seeing is. Say any of those phrases and I want you to watch the difference. Got it? You shift the room, you shift how you show up, and you shift how people perceive you. Next up is the phrase, does that make sense? This one drives me insane in executive environments because people or most people say it out of nervousness, not clarity. And I have to tell you, that used to be me. That used to be me. I used to say this phrase all of the time, but I had to put in the work to shift it. When we say that, it sounds like, please validate me. It appears like we're looking for approval before we proceed. So instead, say things like this. I'll pause there and allow people to have a conversation or ask a question. Or you can say something like, what questions do you have? Got it? That sounds composed. Here's something. The next weak word that I want you to stop using is the word maybe. Confident communicators don't constantly dilute their statements. Sounds like this. Maybe we could, maybe X, maybe no. Stop cushioning every single thought because you are afraid of being wrong. You can be direct without being arrogant. Let me give you some examples. My recommendation would be, the concern I see is XYZ. The opportunity here is blah, blah, blah. You have to be intentional about owning the room you're already in. No more shrinking. I remember a client that I was working with, and what I normally do with a client is I have them record themselves in action, in a meeting, in a board meeting, doing a presentation, so I can see what they truly look like and how they truly show up, their body language, how they verbalize their thoughts and things like that, how they manage silence. And I love doing this work because no matter who you are, if you've never worked on it, you can't shift it. I love doing this work because these small but significant shifts can totally change everything. From my first session with my client, I can guarantee them that they can go back to their next meeting, presentation, and show up differently. Small tweaks. And when you practice them and they become your habit, you shift how people treat you, how people perceive you, how people listen to you, and how serious people take you changes when you own how you communicate. How you communicate, one more thing, matters more than your actual title. Now, here's something else you need to stop doing. Answering too quickly. You have to be strategic with how you respond. When someone answers too quickly, that's their nerves talking. Someone asks a difficult question and people panic and they feel the silence like I shared before. That's where they lose all of their leverage and all of their clout. One of the strongest things you can do in meetings is just simply pause before you respond. Now, I don't want you to be over dramatic. You don't have to pause for 10 seconds, relax, but just give yourself a moment, just 1 to 2 seconds, because that pause showcases the fact that you're in charge of your emotions and not your environment. It shows that you're calm and you're composed, that you believe in what you're saying or what you've just said. And it also signals to other people that you're confident under pressure. And people trust calm energy. When you rush, it weakens your presence. When you rush, it weakens who you are, what you're saying, and people lose what you're saying. So stop rushing your responses. Stop rushing your words, because when you speed up, it tells everyone else around you that you're feeling uncomfortable. Here's the thing. Silence is not awkward. Your discomfort in the midst of silence is awkward. And that's a big difference. I call that moment of silence your power pause. Some of the most powerful executives that I've worked with speak slower than everyone else in the room. Why? Because they're not emotionally reacting to pressure. They're choosing their responses instead of reacting to the environment around them or that loud, disruptive person or people. That's true, powerful executive presence. Now, this next one, a lot of leaders need this. Stop over-explaining every single decision. Once again, especially women in leadership. And yes, I said it. So many freaking brilliant women have been conditioned to over-provide context so they don't appear difficult, aggressive, intimidating, too much. Who cares? I want you to show up strong. And when you do that, here's what happens. You start presenting decisions wrapped in emotional ideas, wrapped in emotional cushioning. Instead of saying things like this, being direct and saying something like, we're moving in this direction. It sometimes sounds like, well, I was thinking maybe we should stop it. And when you start to talk like that, your authority disappears. Listen carefully. Come close. You don't need 14 disclaimers before every thought. You don't need to over-defend your decisions, your opinions, your boundaries. You don't need to over-explain every single no. And you definitely do not need to speak for 5 minutes to prove intelligence. Stop it. The most powerful communication is concise, clean, direct, and minimal. And most important, emotionally regulated. Powerful communicators trust their words enough to let them land. That's the difference. So you might be asking, okay, Karen, I got it. So how do you shift? Here's what I want you practicing immediately this week, if this is something you want to take seriously. 1, remove the word just for 48 hours and watch how often you minimize yourself unconsciously. Number 2, I want you to pause for 2 seconds before answering difficult questions. It's okay. Silence is power. Even those 2 seconds can change your energy completely. Number 3, I want you to stop explaining after the point has landed. No over-explaining. Once the message is clear, stop talking. Got it? Number 4, I want you to replace approval-seeking language. So instead of, does that make sense? Say something like this. What questions do you have? Instead of saying, my favorite here, sorry, I want you to say, I'd like to add something. Just interrupt. These are small language shifts. However, it causes massive perception shifts. And here's what I want you to remember. Having a powerful presence is not about sounding perfect. It's about sounding comfortable in your own skin. It's about sounding grounded and in control of yourself. And grounded people don't rush to prove themselves every time they speak. So the next time you walk into a meeting, any meeting, stop managing the room for insecurity. Stop filling silence because you're uncomfortable. It's okay. Stop shrinking your language to make other people comfortable. Say what needs to be said. Well, say what needs to be said. Say it clearly and concisely, and stop talking when the point hits, when that point lands. My friends, if there's someone that you know who needs to hear this episode, make sure to share it. And if you haven't already, make sure to like, subscribe, and tell me your thoughts below in the comments. My friends, this is Karen D, and I will see you in the next episode of the Boardroom Series.